Hey, hi, in Watch Dogs Legion you can do pretty much anything with pretty much anyone.
Wow.
When Watch Dogs was released in 2014, people were hyped. This is what next-gen graphics and gameplay was supposed to look like.
The future is now.
But when we finally got our hands on it...
The future is... crap.
I'll be honest, I wasn't too impressed by it either. The hacking gameplay was more simple than I expected, the graphics were less than were promised, and overall, the story was...
so dark.
It was moody, dystopian, and so serious it almost drifted into melodrama. But I felt at the time that it laid an interesting groundwork for a sequel. Almost immediately after playing it, I said to myself, the second one is gonna be good. But only a year later, we got Mr. Robot, a gritty crime hacker drama starring Freddie Mercury on USA. Yeah, it's not just for suits anymore. Mr. Robot was what Watch Dogs should have been. The hacking in the show was tedious, exhausting, and real. Believe it or not, most movie and TV shows' depictions of hacking are a little unrealistic.
You could cut the hard line at the mainframe.
Hard line. Mainframe! Hey, repair to the mainframe! Cut the hard line. You were being sarcastic.
Yeah.
So, there was a new standard. And in 2016, we got to see what Ubisoft had learned. And the answer was, a little. Watch Dogs 2 improved a lot from its predecessor. The graphics were more impressive, the story was more interesting, and the main character was actually fun. And the hacking mechanics were expanded with puzzles, mini-games, and devices. But things were still pretty simplistic. Everything was at the push of a button. Now, I don't really know a solution to this beyond hooking up a keyboard and having to type out long lines of code. But I guess because of the new setting of bright and sunny San Francisco, things felt a little less serious and more fun. So I suppose the hacking could feel the same too. But it wasn't without its own problems. Though the mood was greatly improved from the original, the light satirical techie fun sometimes felt almost too silly. And Marcus was a much better protagonist than Aiden, but there were times when the game made you do things with him like use guns and kill people, which was something that seemed completely against his character. And like Watch Dogs, I hoped Watch Dogs 2 would lead to a better game, one that learns and builds off of those that came before it. Watch Dogs Legion promised to be that game, one very different from the first two. And it is. First of all, London needs to be in more video games. This city is just lovely. Winding streets, historical buildings, a near-future ambiance that's fun to run around in. And with all these cool gadgets like the spider bot, drones, and AR crime scene reconstruction,
I'm Batman.
Graphically, it's impressive, enabling ray tracing on higher-end hardware and sharp textures and animations. You play as... well, see, now that's the trick, isn't it? In Watch Dogs Legion, there is no main character. In effect, you play as DedSec, the hacker group. Anyone on the streets is a potential player character, from the tax attorney to the martial artist to Granddad. You can even recruit members of the enemy forces. Speaking of which, the main enemy is Albion. After a terrorist attack that is wrongly blamed on DedSec, Albion swoops in to impose draconian martial law on the citizens of London. This is another great improvement from the earlier games. These guys feel like a real foe. Along with the sadistic gang led by Mary Kelly, and they are truly nasty. There were some biker gangs and such in Watch Dogs 2, and from time to time it'd say they'd be in conflict with the police or something. But here, Clan Kelly is part of the story in a bigger way, and it fits in much more naturally. In Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2, your enemies weren't that imposing. I mean, basically the big bad from Watch Dogs 2 was the CEO of Google. But here, Albion are real dicks. You can find them beating people on the street, capturing citizens, and just all around douchebaggery. And once you learn what Clan Kelly is doing, there's definitely no love lost. So zapping them, blowing them up, or shooting them in the face isn't too difficult. You'll also join with other hacker teams to take down the nefarious underground of London crime. And you can do this as anyone. This is the really cool thing about this game. The first time you pick someone off the street and decide to help them and have them join the team is very awesome.
Wow.
And each person has some unique traits. You can be a super spy, a heavy brute, the infiltrator, or okay, yeah, everyone's not a winner. I'm looking at you, Super Spy. With all of these possible recruits, the game opens into multiple different styles of gameplay. You want to run in guns blazing? Find a soldier. How about a stealth approach? Maybe use the spy. I recruited a royal guard to walk onto the grounds of Buckingham Palace like it was a Hitman game. Yet, as I continue to grow my team of rapscallions, I keep having the same problem. Okay, so here's my team. We got Peter, Miles, Juliet, Edward, Patty, Sarah, and Michael.
Listen, have I gotten any of the names right so far?
No, sir, but you came damn close on a couple of them.
Okay.
I don't know anyone's name. Yes, they all have names, but no one ever says them. So, unless I read their life story, I don't know who the hell I have. It's basically all identifying marks.
I have an amazing mnemonic device by which I have now memorized all of your names. Shirty, Mole, Lazy Eye, Mexico, Baldy, Sugar Boobs, Black Woman.
It's all very much at arm's length. They're just known to me as what I can use them for. And the missions to recruit these operatives are generally fun at first. Because the more people you recruit, the more likely it is that you'll be doing the same recruiting missions twice or more. For one recruit, for instance, I had to steal a van of supplies, so I went to the warehouse. Without ever going in, I unlocked the garage door, hacked the car into reverse, and out of the building where I was waiting. I got in and drove away. It was very cool and exciting.
Wow.
Until about 3 recruits later, when I was sent back to the same warehouse to get another van full of different supplies. And this keeps happening. You rescue a hostage for one guy, only for there to be another in the same building just 1 recruit later. Now, there is a practical and logical reason for this. There is literally no way to develop and create unlimited, unique, and unrepeatable missions. When everyone can be a recruit, everyone can't have their own completely unique story. While their general career and attributes are randomly generated, missions have to be designed and structured as to, not break the game. So there are trade-offs to this. While it is very exciting to think that literally anyone could join the revolution, you don't really get to know any one character. There are special recruits with very special skills like expert hackers or drone pilots, and when they die, it is a real shame. But when it comes to a restricted building full of enemy guards and attack drones, the choice between a highly skilled, rare operative versus anyone else is pretty easy.
Very dangerous. You go first.
Permadeath, then, is definitely a must. You can toggle it, and I would definitely recommend it. Without it, I don't think I would have taken any care in any of the missions. I would have just sent in my granny to tear up the place.
What the
But with permadeath, there are stakes. Kinda. Unfortunately, most characters are just replaceable. Which is a shame, because you might favor one particular character, but the game doesn't really recognize that. Really, the only character you genuinely get to know isn't even a human. It's Bagley, your AI assistant.
Anyway, why don't you go connect me to the Dead Set network so I can become more powerful than you could possibly imagine? I mean, catch up on what I missed.
And with this ragtag group of nobodies, you liberate districts, find collectibles, and rise up to take your city back. So, yeah, standard Ubisoft open world. I know it's a cliche, all Ubisoft open worlds feel the same, but it is true. And again, while the ability to be anyone is very exciting,
Wow.
I don't feel like I am doing anything. It's just all these other people. Now, I don't begrudge a game for using multiple characters. In fact, I think it can actually create an incredibly powerful dynamic that hits harder than if it was only one character. This game doesn't have multiple characters. It has multiple people. People you get to move around from time to time. I don't know, maybe I'm just not paying close enough attention to my team.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
Or maybe I just don't know my team. The idea here intrigues me. I am tempted to say what I've said for the last 2 Watch Dogs games. The next one will be better. And I guess that is the goal for every game in a continuing series, but I just wish I didn't have to say it here. A lot is improved, and there's no such thing as a perfect game, but it feels like they've taken some of the good from the past games away. So maybe the next one will add the most interesting and exciting parts from these 3 games, and make real the potential expressed back in Chicago, or the fun had in San Francisco, or the scope here in London. Until then, I don't know, can I recruit the Queen?